and welcome to the 17th Sinister episode of Deadheaddaddy's Creepy Things. I'm really excited to bring you this episode because it is my second annual Evil Dead special. Today I'm going to be talking about all kinds of stuff from the Evil Dead franchise.
Groovy.
Before we get into all that, I do, of course, as always, want to thank the Midnight Syndicate for their wonderful, horrific music that is featured in our show. Excuse me, while I'm messing with the cue cards. Alright, also in this episode, we are going to be featuring something new. I'm going to have 2 short movies in between my little segments because I'm looking to expand the show. So stick around for those as well. Now, before we get into all my crazy reviews and talking about everything Deadite, let's not forget that Army of Darkness just celebrated its 25th anniversary. Congratulations, Sam, Bruce, Bob, and all the rest. It's a great film, a great, strong part of the franchise, and one of my favorites, obviously. So, congratulations, guys, on a happy 25th anniversary. Now, let's get into the horrors of the Evil Dead.
Reels for the wretched.
Alright, kiddies, welcome to Reels for the Wretched, Evil Dead Edition. As you know, this is my favorite part of the segment. I love to tell you guys about movies and TV shows and stuff you might not get to hear about otherwise. If you're an Evil Dead fan, probably nothing on here is going to be that big of a surprise for you, but that's okay, because I got a lot to tell you, so let's just get right into it. First thing we're going to talk about is a documentary, not just specifically about the Evil Dead, but also about makeup effects artist Tom Sullivan, who, as Sam Raimi said, was invaluable to the making of Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, and even worked on Army of Darkness.
Well, that's just what we call pillow talk, baby.
This is a great documentary. Director Ryan Mead gives us a lot of behind the scenes of all 3 films, mostly the first 2, and all the inner workings and everything that Tom did and the other special effects legends that got their start with Tom on these movies. Lots of special guests like Sam Raimi himself, Bruce Campbell, the ladies of the Evil Dead, and just everybody has great things to talk about Tom and the amazing work that he has done for these films. Again, a great documentary, shows you a lot of how things were done in the movies on such a small budget and how they could not have made these films without Tom's input. So, if you're into the Evil Dead like I am, you like to watch documentaries and behind the scenes stuff, definitely pick this one up. I was lucky enough to get a copy of the limited edition 2-disc set, but the 1-disc set featuring the movie is currently available from Ryan Mead. I will give you a link on how to find that. If there's one movie that you pick up from everything I've ever talked about, make it Invaluable, because it is really good. A really good film. Next on the list, we're going to go all the way back to the beginning to 1978 with the Sam Raimi classic Within the Woods. Ooh. For those of you who don't know, Within the Woods was a short proof of concept movie that Sam had made to get backers so that he could make Evil Dead. Now, stars Bruce, of course, and Ellen Sandweiss, and it's a little different. Some people call it a prequel, but it doesn't really fit in with the Evil Dead mythology as opposed to the Necronomicon and other lore of the Evil Dead franchise. It has more to do with possessed Native American artifacts, but other than that, it's a really fun time. You can see a lot of the Sam movements, a lot of the Sam directing choices, the early beginning of Sam and his vision for our favorite horror films. Now, unfortunately, there has been no official release, but you can find it on YouTube and some other sources, so you can at least watch it. Those copies are like 4th generation, so they're really worn out, but it kind of adds to the whole feel. not bad. Definitely not the best of the whole Evil Dead franchise, but it is a fun watch. See Bruce early, who, as opposed to being Ash, is actually the bad guy in this one. And it's just, like I said, it's just a fun time. Fun time. If you're looking for a fun time,
Give me some sugar, baby.
concerning Evil Dead, some guys out there re-edited the first three Evil Dead movies into a movie called Evil Dead Revised. And it runs just about an hour and 13 minutes, pretty short, and it splices together everything to make it one movie and features all the gore and the good stuff. I really enjoyed it. It was fun to watch. The only downside, well, before I get to the downside, the cool thing about it is Bruce has said in a couple interviews that Evil Dead 2 is not really a sequel. I mean, not really a remake, but it is in fact a continuation of the first movie. And he says, if you get to the end of the original when the demon hits him, stop there and cut to Evil Dead 2 where the demon hits him after his girlfriend dies and all that, and he flies through the air. That's how those connect. Personally, I also like to take the end of Evil Dead 2 and chop off right before we see where good old Ash winds up in medieval times and skip right to Army of Darkness. Now this movie does that same thing, so it makes it one concrete story, but it does chop out a lot of the jokes and the humor that we're used to. So there is that missing. And I believe it has the original ending where Ash wakes up hundreds of years in the future in an apocalyptic world. So if you're hardcore like me and you want to see everything, it is definitely worth checking out. I guess everything I've talked about today is worth checking out. But it is definitely worth checking out. I do recommend it. Now, before I get to Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2, which is kind of what spurs these specials. When the new season comes out and I get a chance to watch it, I throw these together for you guys and give you my thoughts. But before we get to that, I want to talk about a couple films that I recommend that are clearly influenced by the Evil Dead franchise. The first one is called The Bornless Ones. Now, the Bornless Ones, bunch of college students in a cabin in the woods running into demon mayhem. Sound familiar? Well, it's not bad for a low-budget movie. It's not the best movie that I'm talking about today, but it's definitely worth checking out. It is influenced more by the 2013 Evil Dead than the others, but it is definitely there. It's definitely been influenced. But it is a fun ride, a little different. Spooky things, incantations, all that, of course. But it is a fun ride, so you should check it out. But the movie I really want to tell you about, I've been dying to tell you about this for a long time. It is a movie called Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell, or the Japanese Evil Dead. This movie is so epically awesome, I can't praise it enough. Very low budget, cheesy, but it is such a love letter to the Evil Dead movies that you have to see this if you like the Evil Dead. Again, everything I'm talking about, I'll give you links so you can check these things out. But this movie, go buy it. Don't watch it online. Don't steal it or whatever. Buy this movie and support these guys. It is a Japanese Evil Dead. A guy and his girlfriend fighting demons in a small little cottage. Oh my goodness. The gore is awesome, although cheesy, and you will definitely love this movie. You will definitely see that they are fans of the Evil Dead franchise, and they had to make this movie as an homage. So, please check out that as well. Lastly, I am going to talk about Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2. Now, as you all know blatantly, I am a huge fan of the Evil Dead franchise. I think it is the best franchise in all of horror history. The entries are far more consistently good than any other franchise out there. And I will argue that with anybody. anyone. When Army of Darkness is one of your weak moments, that's a pretty good franchise, because Army of Darkness ain't weak. So anyways, having said all that, I was actually a little disappointed.
I don't like being sacrificed!
The reason being is, I love the first season. It's everything I wanted it to be. But this season, it seemed like they were trying too hard. Too hard to freak you out and to be funny. Had a lot of running gags and sexual humor in there that, to me, just didn't feel quite like The Evil Dead. Good horror show, don't get me wrong, but this season didn't quite have The Evil Dead feeling for me. There were absolutely epic moments, like Ashy Slashy the puppet, and the whole cast does a phenomenal job. No complaints there. Everybody is amazing in this show. But it was just too inconsistent. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil anything for you. But we wind up in the cabin again at the end of this season, just like season 1. So that felt a little rehash. And it just didn't feel right. I know there was some behind-the-scenes fighting with the showrunner and Robert Talbert, and they changed the last episode. Originally in the last episode, they were going to go back in time to the cabin, and Ash would meet his younger self, and they would try to stop the Deadites from rising. But all that was scrapped for a final battle with the season's enemy, Bale. And it just didn't feel, it felt rushed. It didn't feel right with the rest of the season. Also, again, I'm not going to spoil it, but the season end, how it all ends, doesn't quite add up, doesn't quite make sense. Yes, I know this is The Evil Dead, and it never quite adds up and makes sense. But come on, we want a little bit of answers. All I can say is I could be totally wrong, and the new season, which is now on Starz, could answer my concerns, and then I just look like a fool up here on your TV screen. But if it doesn't, you'll know what I mean when you see it. It's just too... It just doesn't gel like the other season did. But I'll be watching season 3, so don't worry about it. I haven't turned my back on the show or on the franchise, but I just wasn't as happy with this season as last. Well, there you go. Excuse me. There you go. I'm wrapping up all my reviews for the Evil Dead franchise and the movies influenced by it. If you like what I have to say, or if you think I'm out of my rotten mind, please comment on the video below if you are watching this on YouTube. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel and say hi. Alright, kiddies. Now, while you're waiting for me to talk about a comic book coming up, be sure to stick around for a silent film called A Terrible Night from 1896. Kind of silly, kind of fits the whole Evil Dead theme we got going on. So definitely check it out, and I'll be right back.
Erudition of the Damned.
Alright, boys and ghouls, hope you liked The Terrible Night. Fun little quick movie for you to get you going, get the juices flowing, get you scared. Anyways, Erudition of the Damned here, and we are going to be talking about a really cool comic book from Dynamite Entertainment. And that comic book is called Ash versus the Army of Darkness. Now, I have only read the first 3 issues of the book. That's including issue 0. So I don't know what's going on right now in it, but I'll tell you what. This book is amazing. It has the look, the feel, the excitement, and the humor of the Evil Dead. Their portrayal of Ash Williams feels spot on. The Deadites that have shown up have just been hilarious. And it's just been a fun story so far. Unlike some of the other Evil Dead comics that are out there that seem like they just bought the rights and tried to throw something together, this feels like it's part of the universe. It's a fun, great book. Artwork is amazing, kind of quirky, like the series, and it's just fun. It's also kind of neat because this series so far takes place in a high school where Ash is posing as a substitute teacher until the Deadites show up. Very similar to what's going on in Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 3 right now. We even have a Deadite-possessed mascot, but that's okay. I typically look at books and comics of other franchises as not in the timeline of something different, so it's okay that they're similar, but it is a fun book. I do really hope you check it out. It's at your local comic book store. If it's not, ask for it by name from Dynamite. Ash versus the Army of Darkness. It's definitely worth your time if you like the horror books. Alright, this one's a little bit shorter, but I hope you go out and you read something scary. If you do like to read anything scary, want me to talk about it on the show, if you wrote anything, just give me a holler, private message me on Facebook. We'll work something out. Alright, let's get on with the show. Oh, can't get on with the show because the next movie I have for you... Oh, I lost my notes. Well, there it is. There it is. It is called The Infernal Cauldron. It's another black and white silent film. And again, it deals with demons. So, kind of fits our show today. Alright, check out The Infernal Cauldron. Whoa! Alright, kitty. Excuse me, that wraps up our 17th episode, our Evil Dead special number 2. Again, I do want to thank the Midnight Syndicate for the music they provide for the show. That is really groovy of them. They're a great bunch of guys. Now, I want to say, if you are watching this show on YouTube, please like our videos, subscribe, share, comment, all the stuff we always ask you to do when we're on YouTube. It's really important. We have over 100 followers, and the more followers we get, the better chance I can to bring you bigger, better, scarier, cheesier movies. So, please do all that. If you are watching for us on the Monster Channel, which we are proud to be part of, keep an eye on the listings. We're usually on Saturdays, but that can always change. A lot of other great hosts on there. We love being there, and we thank the entire family, especially Halloween Jack and the Bone Jangler, for letting us be on the channel. So, again, thank you for watching. I hope you liked our Evil Dead special number 2. And I will be back very soon with more reviews and maybe movies. Until then, kiddies, as always, stay creepy.
It is entitled Naturan de Manto, roughly translated, Book of the Dead.